to the Bastards YouTube. We are going to make our picks for this Red Sox Milwaukee Brewers series. This will take place in Milwaukee. Red Sox just wrapped up their homestand, 5 wins, 2 losses, certainly better than I expected. Some little bit of craziness in there, and I think the gods were kind of with the Red Sox, but I've got Nick with me. Sam is with us for his second video, so we're going to make our game-by-game picks. Nick, why don't you take us through your game one pick?
I'm going to give it to the Brewers. Looking at the Brewers, 14-5 to start their season so far. In my opinion, one of the bigger surprises in the league to start their year. They're built on youth. There's a lot of young talent that they have right now. They got some decent players that are up and coming that are there. They also are fighting the injury bug with a couple players, one of which is their center fielder, Garrett Mitchell. They also have a couple of their pitchers. Luis Urias is one of the guys that is also on the DL. They're winning a lot of games with a solid bullpen, something that I think that a lot of the league should look at, because if you got some of these guys in your pen that are going to get the job done, that's going to make for a winning combination. They still got Christian Yelich, to my surprise, out there too. It seems like he's a forgotten commodity. He's a guy that was very good, when he first came up, but he's been fighting the injury bug for quite a bit, back injury, and off camera, Terry and I were talking about it, and maybe Ryan Braun threw him a couple different PEDs for steroids and everything like that, but who knows? I like the guy. He's very likable team. But first game, I definitely see Milwaukee getting the edge over the Sox.
Just speculation on the PEDs on our part.
Absolutely.
So Nick goes game one for the Brewers. Sam, who do you have game one?
Yeah, I also have the Brewers in game one. I have to agree with Nick on this one. I think that Nick Pivetta is toss in the basket. You just have no idea what you're going to get from Pivetta. He's got, I think, like a 4.50 ERA so far this year. He seems like he pitches batting practice 2 out of 3 times that he shows up on the field. The Brewers are in first place in their division. They're having a surprisingly very good year. They can hit, and Yelich is hitting. I don't like Pivetta in that ballpark whatsoever. Peralta, 3.18 ERA so far. He's 2-1. Not a great matchup for those Sox hitters, although I do like the fact that Yoshida seems to be coming around a little bit. I know it's only been a game or 2, but it seems like he's sort of finding his way. Enrique Hernandez has multiple hits over the last couple of games. All that said, I like the Brewers in game one.
I am in agreement with both of you. Nick Pivetta, 6 earned runs in his last start, walked 3, had a little bit of control problems. Freddie Peralta is He is pitching to a, well, I'm flubbing it tonight. Hitters are hitting a 2.00 average against Peralta, so not super robust, and I should say left-handed hitters, which is 90% of the Red Sox lineup outside of Turner and Kike. Kike has heated up, though. He was 6 for 13 in the series against the Twins. But I'll also mention the Brewers they have the number 6 offense in Major League Baseball against right-handed hitting. And all 3 Red Sox starters for this series will be, right-handed starters. So a very robust offense, and not to mention the Brewers are the number 2 overall ranked pitching staff. So gonna be a tough series in Milwaukee. Nick, go ahead, game 2, and let's see. That is before you give your picks. That is Garrett Whitlock versus Wade Miley.
How can you root for Wade Miley? Dennis Eckersley's favorite pitcher. Do you remember that game way back in the day? You get out of here. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen out of Mech's mouth. That was great.
He ate his lunch, right? Was that the same?
Get your salad or whatever it was from it. It was phenomenal.
The greatest thing out of X's mouth was "It's a time to party." That was the
that one
thing.
there.
Yeah, that was the
absolutely.
Continue.
It was before that time. I will agree with that 100%. But I can't root for Wade Miley. I mean, I'm going to ride high here with Garrett Whitlock after that performance we just saw. Now that we've seen that he can get into the rotation, settle in, and throw 7 innings, why can't we also bank on at least having a 5 or 6 inning start here and building off of that performance he had the last time? So I'm going to give the Red Sox the edge, at least in game 2. I want to see more Whitlock, and I hope for the best for him.
I don't like the fact that I have to go after Nick every time. He steals my picks every I'm going to agree with him again. I'm going to go with the Red Sox in game 2. I think they take their first one of the series here. Although it was only 1 game for Whitlock, he did look good. He looked very good, and I think he repeats that performance. Wade Miley, though, don't sleep on Miley. Remember, an old friend of ours used to pitch for the Red Sox. He has a 1.50 ERA this year, which is not too shabby. It's only been a couple of starts. He's a left-hander, and the Red Sox lineup is predominantly left-handed at this point. So I think it's going to be a nail biter on Saturday, but I do think the Red Sox squeak it out in a close one.
I am going to disagree with both of you. I'm not super confident with this game because both pitchers are, performing pretty well. Miley, however, is scoreless in 2 of his 3 starts so far. His most recent start was 7 innings scoreless against the San Diego Padres. So that's a tough lineup to kind of keep at bay. Like Peralta, left-handed hitters are only hitting .211 off of Miley. So I think he's going to be tough on some of our guys. Not to mention, I know, as Sam said, Yoshida is showing signs of coming out of the slump, but, I'm not convinced he's all the way out yet. Casas drawing some walks, but still not hitting. I just don't like where this lineup is at going into a start where Miley's just pitching so well. But I will say it's going to be a huge test for Garrett Whitlock, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. Finally, game 3, Nick, who do you like?
Who is the pitching matchup again? If you don't,
Is
it TBA?
It's Bello and Burns.
Bello, okay, there we go.
Burns is still a little iffy with his pectoral strain, but he's scheduled to make a start.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at his stats a little bit. If I was looking at him correctly, he's in the high 4s for an ERA so far this season. Kind of shaky a little bit. Yeah, there definitely was a little bit of a concern with the injury bug for him. I'm still not sold yet on Bello. I'm still not. I still need to see a whole lot more from him. Last show, I believe I talked about with the whole pump your brakes here, like slow your roll. This guy's not Pedro Martinez. I want this guy to be good, but you can't keep shoving it down with Brian Bello when he still has so much more to prove. I actually think a little time down in AAA will do him well, but they're a little bit thin here in that pitching staff. So it's a chance to build. I'm not super high on it right now with this win. So that's why I see Milwaukee taking 2 or 3 in this series.
I'm going to disagree with you for the first time. I'm going to go with the Red Sox taking 2 out of 3. I think that Bello, although he didn't look good in start 1, I think just like Whitlock did in his second start, he pitches better this time around. I think that Burns is iffy with that injury, and Burns was the number 1 or number 2 pitcher coming into the year in all of baseball, and he hasn't performed up to expectations. It's early, granted that, but he has a 4.76 ERA through 3 starts, and he does have that injury. So I think that the Red Sox, and I get a weird feeling about it, I think they take 2 out of 3 this weekend. I don't feel any better than I did when we had this talk last time about the team, but I think they take 2 out of 3 over the weekend.
I am going with a clean sweep. Excuse me. I'm just way off this episode, but I am picking the Brewers to sweep the Red Sox. Most of the damage done to Corbin Burns was actually in his season debut against the Mets. He was tagged for 6 earned runs. Since then, 8 innings against the Diamondbacks, scoreless, by the way. Struck out 8 in that one. Labored a little bit against the Seattle Mariners, 5 1/3. Walked a couple, but only 2 earned runs there. And unlike the other 2, Burns is lights out against left-handed hitting. They are only batting 122 against him. So I think that's a pretty robust lineup for a guy like Bayo. I think the bar is a little low. It should be pretty, he should be able to improve on his last start to some degree. But I just think this Milwaukee Brewers team is super hot. They took 3 out of 4 against the Brewers in the series before last, and then swept the Seattle Mariners coming into this one. So they're white hot. And you look at the Red Sox, how they're winning some of these games, stealing them. Fenway Park, they're playing very good at home, and I think that hostile atmosphere is kind of playing, in their favor. But I don't know that they'll be able to pull that off against the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee. So you guys, looks like you're 2-1 Red Sox. Oh no, Nick, you're actually.
I'm 2 out of 3 for Milwaukee.
Okay.
I have 1 win. I have the Whitlock game as the win for me.
I don't like my picks. I don't like that I'm picking them twice. I'm just doing it. I don't like it though.
You got to keep it real. So
there's one player too I want to bank on, and I bank on Rowdy Talese having a big series against the Red Sox because that's what the guy does. So there you have it. He's gonna do something big. And
can I just say before we go, can we get the Valdez kid in a little bit at second base? Because we need some sort of spark. He looked good the other day. He had 2 hits. Why not put him in? Put Kike back in the outfield.
I would actually send down Casas. That's not a popular opinion, but I would send him down and put Valdez at first.
Have Turner play first every day?
No, I'd put Valdez there. He can play. He can play first. So
here's another thing. I don't know if you guys heard before the show came. We did it. Jose Iglesias just said he is not going to continue with his minor league deal with the Marlins. He's another one that's available. I don't know if you take a waiver on it.
World Series got Iglesias.
I know. Man.
All right. Well, we will wrap on that. We'll be back, as things develop, but no later than this weekend, though, because we'll be back to make our picks for the Baltimore series. So hopefully everyone's having a good week. Take care.